So for a couple of years, we have been trying to decide if we were going to move, stay where we're at, or what we were going to do. And the crux of the problem is, even though we have almost 15 acres, a good portion of that, in fact, a 6-acre portion, we have 3 parcels that are linked together for our total acreage, is really considered like a wetland, swampy area. It's got a lot of trees and forest, and we can't clear that and turn it into pasture because of the wetland kind of boggy areas that are down there. So we really wanted to raise more cattle and have more space to do like on teaching workshops and kind of like mini conferences and stuff. But parking is an issue, space is an issue. And we actually, when we got our milk cow Clover, because of the pasture issues and just not having enough pasture, we actually had to sell one of our cows who was bred back. She actually was like 4 weeks from delivery, but we just did not have enough grass. So we had to sell her. And so we'd looked even at moving out of state. Like we had looked at property in Tennessee, maybe Idaho for various reasons, but neither my husband nor I really felt that God was giving us permission or telling us to leave. Now, I realize if you're not a Christian or not of that belief, that probably doesn't make much sense to you, but I know a lot of you are. And so we had prayed and neither one of us felt that we could move. Plus, all of our family lives here, like our siblings and both of our parents and all of that. So it was really hard to leave. So we kind of were just like, well, we're going to just do the best that we can with the space that we have. And maybe that means that we don't increase our cows and we just keep with where we're at, and we just can do little mini workshops like we've been doing, and that's just that. And then I was driving into town and I drove past the driveway. It was on a Thursday at 3:30 in the afternoon, and I saw a for sale sign at the Hornbeck's place. So for those of you who live locally, you will know what that means. But the Hornbeck place is a 40-acre farm that has been in the Hornbeck family for, probably over 50 years. Like a lot of the land around here has been in specific families for a very long time. It doesn't go up for sale very often. And I saw a sign that said for sale, and I called my husband and I'm like, the Hornbeck place just went up for sale. There's a for sale sign. Should we look into it? And he's like, yeah. So I called my really close friend, my brother's girlfriend, actually, longtime girlfriend, who's a real estate agent. And I said, Michelle, look into this place. It just literally went up for sale. And so she gets back to me with like in an hour and she's like, yes, it just went up for sale. It just listed today. I can get you in tomorrow. So, but she's like, it's 40 acres with a house. It's going to go really fast in the market that we're in. So if you guys look at it and you're serious, we need to make an offer by tomorrow. Okay, by this time it's like 4:30 at night or in the afternoon. And we're not pre-approved for a loan because we were not looking for anything. So we sent in all the documentation and got pre-approved for a loan just in case by 10 o'clock that night. I mean, it's like 9:30 at night and I am uploading all of the documents to get approved. So we met at 9:30 in the morning and walked through the place, and we were definitely interested, but we were like, I don't know, like it's the most amount of money that my husband and I have ever entertained spending. Like ever. And if we wanted to make an offer, we had to make an offer by that day. And we're like, I don't know, like that's a lot of money. And we were both, plus it's also a lot of property to take on. And my husband still works a full-time day job. Like, we're just like, we're not sure. So we have a friend who's a general contractor. And I called him up and I said, hey, we're thinking of getting this place. Can you come look at it? And he's like, yeah, I can be there in an hour. I'm like, okay. So we just prayed that if there was anything that needed to be brought to light that would be like, no, this is not a good idea, like there's problems with it, that the contractor would see that, it would be really evident to him, and that would be our sign from God, like our Gideon fleece from the Old Testament, if you're familiar with that would be our sign that we should not like stop, no go. We walked through with him, and by the time we got done, he had no idea of this. He had no idea the pressure that was riding on his evaluation. So we come outside and he looked at us and he said, if I had the extra money, I would put an offer on this place right now, today. And my husband and I looked at each other and we're like, okay, there's our sign. So we put in an offer, and the owner accepted it that night. So in almost less than 24 hours, it came up for sale. We looked at it, we made an offer, and moved into closing. So it was the most amount of money we've ever spent with the least amount of time to actually make the decision. So we now just closed on it, and we now just bought this 1916 is when it was originally built, 40-acre farm. And I'm still excited, and also still having those moments of like, I might throw up. What did we do? But I'm going to show you what we did and what our plans are. So one of the beautiful things about this is it's a half mile from our house. So it is super, super close. And this is the little farmhouse. So it was built originally in 1916. It has been updated at different various times. And it definitely needs some remodel work, which I'll show you when we go in there what I'm talking about and what our plans are for it. But what's really cool is when I was a little girl, the couple that lived here was the Hornbecks, as I shared, and they were an older retired couple at that time, but it was Lawrence and Clara Hornbeck lived here. And when I was a little girl, this was like one of the nicest houses like on our whole street. And on May Day, I would bring the 1st of May, a little basket of flowers. And I would come actually to this back door, because this was the door that they used the most. And I would hang the little flower basket, on the back door here, on the door, and knock, and then you run away. And then you'd kind of peek. And Clara knew, I'm sure she knew who it was, but she would always act like so surprised, like, oh, who left these flowers here? And so that is just one of my fond memories of them. And they passed away a number of years ago. And so the house has been a rental, for at least the past 10 years, probably longer than that. So I'm going to take you inside. So here you come in. This is the back entrance. And we've kind of got a makeshift, this is like the laundry area. It's just right, into the kitchen. So here's the outlet. All of our water hookups are washer and dryer, which we are going to be moving. That is not going to stay in this spot. And then to your right is the bathroom. Now we already started demo in here just on Friday. But originally the house didn't have a bathroom because it was built, like I said, in 1916. So this was this is the only bathroom in the place, just got added in. But there's been some water damage at some point to the floor, which we were pretty suspectful of and confirmed when everything got ripped out. So we're in the process of seeing if that water damage actually goes under the tub. We were really hoping that we didn't have to replace the tub and all of this, but we'll have to see how far this water damage goes, because we obviously have to make that safe and we want to make sure that everything is updated accordingly. So the bathroom is pretty much getting completely gutted and redone. We are also going to replace this window, which this is a really, really cool window, but it is single pane and extremely drafty. So we're going to have to put an updated window in here, but I'm really hoping, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I love historical, old things. So I'm like, there has to be something that we can do with this window. I don't know what yet, but we're going to salvage it if we can get it out in one piece, if at all possible. So this was our first area to attack. And unfortunately, the water damage went probably a little bit further than we had hoped, but we kind of knew that going in. So this is the kitchen. And she is in all of her 1950s or 1960s glory. So you can see definitely Formica countertop and backsplash. The cool thing is these cupboards, these are homemade, but they are definitely solid wood, actually really nice cupboards. So we are just going to paint these and put new hardware on them. Definitely updating that light fixture. And then we're gonna this was one of the only windows that actually wasn't newer in the house. It's metal. So we're gonna replace this just because of sweating. And so then everything will have all new windows. We got lucky, only 2 windows need to be replaced in the house. And definitely new countertop and a new backsplash. And we will also be putting in a dishwasher. Now, we don't actually have a dishwasher at our house. Our hands are our dishwashers at our house, but we're not gonna be moving here because there's 1 little tiny bathroom and there's 2 little tiny bedrooms. And I do not think my 17 and 13-year-old son and daughter want to share a bedroom. And quite honestly, we have to have some income coming in from this place. And so we are going to be remodeling this for an Airbnb. So it is going to be a farm stay, and we're really excited about it. But most people, when they're on vacation, don't want to do a ton of dishes by hand. So we will be putting in a dishwasher as part of the kitchen remodel. But you guys, look at this dining room. So it's interesting. The ceilings actually go up in here. They're a lot lower. They're like 2 feet lower in that part of the house, which I'm not sure why, because the attic, you can actually go up in the attic and walk through, and it's all one level. So we're not quite sure what's going on there. It's not anything structural. We're just not sure why it's dropped down. But this is the dining room. And I love, look at these. Look at these, you guys. Look at these built-ins. I get a little excited about goofy stuff, but look at the built-ins. I'm so excited. I love these. They go on both sides. So these are 100% staying. Super excited about those. I have to confess, I'm gonna have so much fun decorating this place. I cannot wait. So here's the dining room, which all new floors throughout the whole house is something that we're doing, as well as there was multiple like wall heaters and heater vents. So we are having to put a heat system in the house. So those have all been pulled out and we'll be patching. And of course, new paint and window treatments. And it's funny because when we first got it, like we knew the remodel work that was gonna have to happen. Anybody who's probably ever flipped a house or bought a house that was like, oh, we're just gonna do cosmetic remodels. And then you get in it and you're like, oh yeah, guess what? The bathroom has water damage. And then here we've got like some odd transitionings of the floor. Like there's these shingles that are like a ramp because it's so you don't trip. So this has to all be fixed and leveled. So new flooring in here. And then we weren't going to replace any of the ceilings, except we were in here and we started looking up. And none of the ceiling tiles actually go in a straight line. And they're kind of like bowed. So it actually has a new roof on it and the roof is pretty new. So we think that at one time there must have been water damage before they put the new roof on, because there's some spots up there where it was like patched. And I am not normally like an, like oh my gosh, obsessive compulsive type person. But looking at the unevenness, both of the lines, and then like it like bows and spots, we're like, we have to put a new ceiling in here. We have to put some sheetrock up, because if you're sitting in here like relaxing, looking at the view and the mountains, and then you look up at that, it would drive me crazy. So we're fixing the ceiling, which is another expense we weren't anticipating, but just has to be done. This, though, is the fireplace, and I'm really excited. We're not leaving it wood burning because there actually was a chimney fire, which my husband was called out on because he's in the volunteer fire department. So we knew that, full disclosure, going in. So we're gonna pull this out and instead just put in one of like the Amish electric fireplaces here. And so I'm really excited that they'll have some ambiance and that it'll provide a little bit of heat. But it'll just be a lot safer, and we don't have to rebuild the chimney and get that inspected and deal with all of that at that time. So that, and I really want to put like a really pretty, I'm not sure, we're going to go look and see what we can find, but I'd love to put like some type of live edge mantle on here and like some really pretty wood. So the living room is actually pretty big though. It's really large, and it has a small built-in like bookshelf area right here on this wall, which we're gonna leave. I think it's fun little character there. So the living room, being as we have to redo the ceiling, we'll actually be able to wire in. The electrician was just here a little bit ago. We're gonna be able to wire in an overhead light because all the rooms except this one have an overhead light. And so we'll be able to put that in here and not just have lamps for lighting. So a lot of stuff has to happen, but I can't wait to see the transformation. So the bedrooms, there's only 2 bedrooms and they're relatively small. This is the first one, but we'll definitely have king size room or bed in here. So it'll sleep 2. And then this is a built-in closet because when this house was first built, they just had little tiny closets. So this is the original closet that is actually underneath the stairway. So look at the size of those things. We will be redoing this. And so there will be an area, like you'll be able to hang some clothes in here. But this is, again, homemade, but really solidly, like this is solid wood. I don't know, I think it might be cherry by looking at it. But this we're just going to paint, put some updated hardware on there because it's actually a really cool closet and wardrobe storage system. So this will be the first bedroom. And this is the other bedroom, which you guys, look at these doors. Just, can you appreciate the doors with me for just a minute? Look how old they are. And they have the original hardware. Be still my heart. This is this, I'm like, part of me is like, if these doors would fit in our house, like I would just take all these doors and put them in our house and swap them out, but they don't. So they will be staying here. Don't worry. If you come here, you will still see the doors, unless I just can't contain myself and I end up getting one of them. But this is the second bedroom, and I think it's a little bit smaller than the other one, but I still think we should be able to get a queen size bed in here with a nightstand, definitely new paint, new window treatments. And then it's interesting because the closet in here, which is actually behind this door, because again, when this was built, you know, there wasn't, it was 1960, and there wasn't the plumbing and whatnot. So this is the hot water tank, which is not going to be staying here. So we'll get that out, and then we'll finish this off with sheetrock so that there will at least be a closet, if it's not much storage space here, so people can hang clothes, etc. And also because I thought about trying to find like an antique wardrobe and bring in here, but by the time you get a queen size bed, I don't know if you could fit a wardrobe in here. Even like putting a dresser in here might be tricky. So we definitely want to be able to use this closet space so that guests can actually have a spot to put their clothes, hang their clothes, you know, etc. So that is the full house tour, just because it's not that big, but I cannot wait to see the transformation. And that's what I keep reminding myself, because as we have gotten bids in and had the electrical looked at and seen how much more certain things are going to cost than we had first anticipated, I'm like, okay, I've just got to hold on to the faith that this will become what God intended, and it will all work out, and just look at the things that I'm excited about and keep my focus there, so that I don't feel like throwing up a little bit. But I want to show you some of the other parts that I'm super excited about. So come with me. So I am excited about the house because I think it's going to be an amazing place for people to be able to come and to experience the country and just have, you know, a vacation, a place of rest, be at a place of restoration, to experience being on a farm with wildlife, etc. But this is a 40-acre working farm. So my brother actually has been leasing this pasture for a number of years, and his cattle have been on it. And this is one of the outbuildings. It has several outbuildings on it. But the reason that we're so excited is because we've had so many people want to do more live in-person learning workshops and learning events where you can gather together and get that hands-on learning experience, and also just the fellowship with being with other people. But on our existing property, we were limited because we could only have about 10 people at a time because of parking and then space. And as I said, we were limited to amount of livestock that we could raise. But here, There's so much. So this is the first outbuilding, and she needs a new roof, which we knew going in. But look at this, you guys. Look at this space. I don't even know how to put it in words. I'm so excited. I mean, we could do larger chicken butchering workshops here, like hands-on, like how to process. It's covered, so it doesn't matter if it's raining or if it's hot, we would have shade. We can run power out here. We could have a stage there. You could do big like farm to table harvest dinners where we do like an end of the season celebration. We could do like mini conferences where we would have different speakers teaching, or myself like on different things. We could set up an outdoor kitchen. Like we could put a wood-fired like old wood cook stove out here and a regular one, and we could do like summer canning out here. You could have multiple stations. You could run water out here to have sinks. Like there's so many things that you can do with this space. So I'm like effervescent, if you can't tell. There's so many things that we could do, but we have to get a new roof on it. So, which we knew, like there's literal holes in the roof. Thankfully, there's not a ton of water damage to the rafters and the beams. There's only one that is a little bit questionable. It's kind of dry right now because we've actually been dry for a few days. But there's one that has been a little bit more wet than the other, and you can see some discoloration up there. So we'll have to be checking that for its structural soundness. But the good news is this building, once it gets a new roof on it, everything else is sound. So this is going to be the future spot of live in-person workshops. And honestly, like once we get some like really pretty lights and cool things like that, I mean, okay, look at this wall. Look at that wall. Do you see all the little knots in there and the slats between the wood? So I just want you to imagine like at sunset and the light beams like filtering through. You could even have a wedding. So many possibilities. So I'm so excited because our goal for this property is this is going to be a learning and a teaching place and a place of fellowship for people who are interested in this lifestyle and want to be surrounded by people who have the same dreams and hopes and thoughts that they do. And so I kind of feel like I'm preaching in a church that doesn't have a congregation yet, but it's going to. Like I can see the vision. So this is the first building because we know it needs a new roof drastically. And once we get the new roof on there, then that will kind of save everything and we'll be able to hold workshops. So depending on how fast we can go, I don't know if we'll be able to host anything here this year, but definitely for next year. And then there's barns. You guys, I haven't had a barn. Like when I was a kid, my dad has a barn, but my husband and I have been married 23 years. We have been raising cattle and pigs and chickens and all the things without a barn. So you're looking at this side and you're like, Melissa, that ain't much of a barn. In fact, sister, that's falling in. Yes, I know it is, but it's salvageable. So that's the exciting part. So this side, oh boy, this side needs a lot of work and we're aware of that. But the other half of this has tin and it's fine and it's solid. In fact, there's only like a couple of like actual support beams that need to be put in on this, even though I know it looks horribly saggy right now. And then we just have to put all new stringers and metal. So it's actually very salvageable even at this point. And I know you're looking at it and you're questioning my sanity and my statements, but it really is because I'll show you from the inside. So here's the first of the other actual barn structures. And this one, what's exciting is there's cement in here. So beneath all of the hay and the, whatnot, this has cement flooring on the main part of it, which is great. And as you can see, like this half, that's all in really, really good shape. Like this roof is just fine. And there's quite a bit, there's posts. Some of these main posts, unfortunately, that one is probably gonna have to be replaced. You can see where they've kind of like tried to shore it up. That one will most likely have to be replaced and probably that end one there. But you guys, like, look at this wood, like, look at these old beams. And this one is one of my favorite parts. Look at that wood. Look at that. Look at that patina and that age. And like, oh my gosh, like, you can't find wood like this. Look at that. So I don't know if we'll be able to save all of this in the exact same spot that it is, because obviously that all is going to have to be replaced. So, but if this wall does have to come down, we will be saving every blessed piece of this wood to use somewhere else if it doesn't go back up. But you can, there's, we're not even sure what's underneath all of this. So there's definitely a lot of cleanup that is going to have to happen and a lot of labor. But our goal is to get all of this out, get some beams, and then get this other half of the roof on so that we can save, this part of the structure and as much of the original wooden beams as possible. I don't know that we'll be able to save, all of these, but that's our goal, is to be able to save as much as we can in this section. And then, this we can, use for hay storage. We can use for workshops. We may even, put some different pins in here. Haven't even gotten really to thinking about exactly how we're going to organize and use this space, but just knowing that we are. But then there's this barn. So this is this third outbuilding, but really the second barn. And she needs some work too, but not nearly as much. So right now there's cows in here. Like, this is a trough where you can actually just drop hay, or manger, I should say, drop hay. And it has cement all around the bottom, which is great because that has saved it from rotting. There is probably literally a ton of cow poop in here, but that doesn't bother me because cow poop can make some great compost. So I am always a gardener and farmer at heart. And when I see manure, I'm like, that there is going to be black gold for growing something. So we're going to get it out because it's very deep and mucky right now. That will be out. We'll be able to create an amazing compost pile out of it and have a ton of really good compost and fertilizer for the garden or the other fields. And then I don't know if we're going to turn part of this into perhaps a milking parlor. Like, half of it would be some stalls for the milk cows. And then a part of it might be a place for pigs. I don't know, like, the possibilities are endless. It feels like it's like this open book and we haven't even started to write in it yet. So the great thing is this roof, though, is in great shape. Pretty much everything on this one is good to go. There's a couple of boards that need to be replaced along the end, and of course it needs to be cleaned out. But other than that, this baby is probably in the best shape. Well, not probably. This one's in the best shape of all of the outbuildings. So as I said, it's 40 acres, so it's a lot of acreage, but the fences really need attention in quite a few spots. In fact, there's some areas that are fenced off, but we can't even have cows in there right now because there's too many holes and they would get through them. So we definitely have to go through the fence area. And then, there's a lot of brush that's been, blackberry vines and whatnot, areas that need to be cleaned out and reclaimed. And then really the pasture, honestly, it's overgrazed. So there's thistles that are growing in it, some different weeds, etc. And so we will be using regenerative agriculture and being able to document with doing, pasture rotation and mob grazing versus just letting them have access to everything. And so I'm excited because not only will we be able to show how you can change the health and fertility of the land by using those practices, but it will also be a teaching aspect in that we can actually have people come here and boots on the ground and show them how we're doing it, and then also doing an overall documentation, from the state that it is in right now, and then how long does it take, to start to see immediate progress, and then through over, years, like months time, how you can change that land and what it's producing and basically help it to heal naturally to a better state of fertility and better management for the livestock and the health of the soil itself. So anyways, thank you for my long excitement and ramble here, but we're really, really excited, and I can't wait to share the whole journey of it with you.